Welcome to SimSpeed TV and welcome to the home of horsepower. It's split one of SimRigs V8 Vets at Sandown International Motor Raceway for 250 kilometres of endurance action tonight with a little bit of Melbourne weather hanging in the air. It's two long straights, some connecting corners and a lot of strategy, traction and high speed for our top split drivers of SimRigs V8 Vets. To bring you live coverage tonight, it's David Haynes with Jake Sperry and Daniel Yeaman in our production. Jake, it's great to have you back, and this is not only some of our most experienced drivers in V8 racing, but these are some of the best out there, full stop.
Absolutely, and this is why we love coming back here to Sandown and bringing everybody here in for this challenge. It's a fast-flowing circuit that offers up great ability to overtake, and one of the keys will be how you master that, not just if you can overtake, but when, and that's where that experience factor comes in on an all-important rundown in the championship, because we are 3 away from the championship being completed. We are 2 weeks from crowning a champion, but they have to run through Sandown first.
It's the Aussiest schedule that SimRigs has ever had. 2 visits to Mount Panorama, 2 visits to the Bend, and Sandown, Adelaide, all the other Aussie tracks in the middle, plus Mexico for some reason. It's like Albert Park. And the story was 3 winners from the first 3 races: Luke Allman, Wayne Walker, and Jordan Ross. Wayne Walker has been on a tear ever since Winton at round 4. And that's why he leads the standings at this point. Jordan Ross has been a good points accumulator, though, and that's why it remains so close. Wayne Walker from Jordan Ross, Ken Latta jumping up into 3rd, Mark Poynton in 4th, and Michael Stewart in 5th. This is with no drop rounds counted yet, as the series have their points currently organised. Shane Randell, Troy Stonestreet, Paul Young, Brad Doble, and Luke Allman as our top 10 at the moment, Jake.
Yeah, and there have been big movers with John Latham and Sean McNamara gaining 5 from 32nd and 35th respectively. Your biggest shakers down, Alex Kiddis losing 9 and Sean Vandermeulen also the same, then down to a tie for 36th position. So there are opportunities out there still at this stage of the championship to go jumping up and picking up points. It is not a case of this one being cut and dry, despite Wayne Walker winning the last 5 races that we have had here in Split 1. Those 2 drop rounds are, though, going to start playing a factor here, and Jordan Ross absolutely is going to know it, with Kenneth Latta just holding on to that 3rd place, sort of in a no man's land between where everyone else is as far as it goes. But one thing I will say, Sandown does offer that lovely element of speed out there. It's a 3.1 kilometer circuit, as we will zoom down over then to where we lie ourselves in the hot spot of motoring in Australia, all the way down Winton just above, Phillip Island down below, Albert Park quote unquote to the left, and pretty much equidistant to all of that, the home of Sandown.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of industry around here as well. Volkswagens were made in the factory just down the road in Clayton, as well as Fords, Holdens across the place here in Melbourne. There used to be a railway station called General Motors, and the shift workers would get on and off the train at that station, but only at shift times. Shift times here are mainly going to be in the braking zones and upshifting on the straights. 2 long straights dominate this racetrack, the front straight into turn 1, and the narrow, slightly dog-legged back straight from turn 4 into the S's next to the hill at turn 6, big braking zone at turn 9, a chicane at 11 and 12 to close out the lap, and you can also leap across the curbs of the chicane at turns 2 and 3. All of that together gives us a very quick lap and quite a short lap. And that's why to reach 250 kilometers tonight is going to involve plenty of laps of Sandown.
It absolutely will here, and let's just take a little moment to go back through the history of what Sandown has been. So you see here, this was the old layout that they had, that extended out the first corner a little bit longer. Then they added the infield section then that they had to fight through the middle to get back out, and made overtaking a lot tougher than what it was. And then they decided, you know what, let's just simple it out, David, here on the run, and give yourself an absolutely all-out dogleg section to say, look, this is where you separate wheat from chaff heading to Dandenong Road.
Yeah, from the World Sports Car configuration to just going a little bit flat out on a shorter circuit for supercars. This is the history of Sandown in V8 Vets. We actually haven't had it on iRacing so many years. Not like Bathurst or Phillip Island, for example. So we first came here in season 22, where Jordan Ross took the win. In season 25, in a 250-kilometre affair, Wayne Walker was victorious. Those are certainly going to be our 2 form drivers for today. High average speeds, a couple of slow corners, traction always so important. The race with 250 kilometers means 81 laps. There is a chance of weather out there. We're starting with 50 liters of fuel on board, but an uncapped fuel tank capacity is actually at 80%. We'll narrow the strategy windows a little bit, which could be important because I think our drivers will very much consider moving from slicks to wets at some point. We love the driver's Zoom wall, Jake. Let's have a look in a second at who's joined us for, as you say, the easiest point in sim racing.
Yep, you get 1 point if you put yourself on camera, and those 1 points are going to add up over the course of the season. They know those 2 compulsory pit stops are going to be critical. And look at that, a hive of activity out there. You've got Justin McLean with the foot camera out there. Sean McNamara out there. John Latham also bringing his foot camera into play. Sean van der Meulen's jumped up. Luke Ullman there with the triple screen. Simon Haynes also showing the trips. Dan Hall with his lovely Logitech headphones that are there and available in Papaya Orange. You got Sharpie then being very happy and ready on only a single screen out there, but by the looks of things running with virtual reality, as you got Paul Young as well as Dean Logsdale, Wayne Walker, and then Christian Smart there in the bottom right.
Sean van der Meulen is back, so maybe he won't be the biggest shaker after this round if he can get some good points, and he's certainly present to be able to do that.
Present and shirtless, David.
I mean, it's a trend, and so I guess when something works, you don't... Superstition, it affects us all.
It very much does, and, you know, it's not something that you often get to say, but there is everybody turning around looking at it going, right, what do I have to worry about today? Well, if it works once and you feel more comfortable doing it, then you'll do it 1,000 times if you think it will give you something of an edge to get you better in racing.
Fantastic. It's good to have Sean van der Meulen back on the grid and back on the Zoom wall. Only one we're missing is the records collection of Wayne Sanderson and the greatest racing tracks in the world of Michael Stewart. But other than that, great to see all of our drivers on the Zoom wall and show you just what a community this is for splits, and everyone that you're racing is a real person out there that loves this type of racing as much as you do. They work hard to prepare and they want a good result too. It's a great little view into the world of it. We'll have a view of the grid for tonight's 250-kilometre affair. It is going to be on the front row, Brian Borg from the back of the grid at Oran Park to pole position at Sandown. You never know what Brian Borg is going to give you. Jordan Ross starts alongside him on the front row of the grid, and what will always be a very close grid around a short lap times barely over a minute. There's the championship leader, Wayne Walker, in third, and Brian Borg's teammate, Jason Bentz, in fourth. What a 4 drivers we have up the front of the grid. Behind them, there's Sean McNamara in fifth, Ken Latta in sixth. Paul Young and Dean Logsdale are on the next row here, and you can see just 0.2 of a second away from pole puts you 4 rows back. Troy Stonestreet is ninth on the grid, and a great qualifying effort from Phil Manuel, last driver in the top 10.
Which leaves Michael Taliancic on the outside of that, looking in at 0.3 off the pace. Mark Poynton then is alongside for company then on row number 6. That leads to Logan Barnett for SimG Sim Racing there, the 911 car in 13th. Jeff Thomas for JWM Sim Sport there in that 14th spot. On row 8, Scott Mackay for the Evolution Racing team. We'll see Alex Kiddis of the Old Mate and Sons there in that 16th spot, with Justin McLean and Damon Fisher there for LMV and Force Shadow. They make up row 9 of the grid. Your top 20 is rounded out by Mr. Logitech himself, Dan Hall, and Sean van der Meulen, then who will go from that 20th space.
Great turnout at Sandown. It's a beloved track to supercars drivers. Brad Doble's in 21st with Ron Allen in 22nd. Travis Hunt is qualified 23rd, and there's John Latham alongside him 24th. Ricky Hyde in 25th, and Bruce Tannock 26th. Shane Randell is 27th on the grid, and Simon Haynes in 28th. Luke Allman in 29th. And Dean Flavel, another retro livery, in 30th.
Yeah, it's Dean. It's not quite Jim Bean. It's Dean there, as Chad Lewis is 31st with Greg Sharp in 32nd position, which leads to Matthew Stoyles and Matt Brunt having an all-Matt 17th row of the grid there for EWT and for Synergy. Brenton O'Brien, nice to see him up in top split action then. He'll go from 35th with Brett Horsell there in 36th position, which leads to the final two drivers of Christian Smart and Damien Cairns to go and push forward with two safety cars at the ready and two members of race control available to make sure that today's running action goes all nice and smoothly here today. Now, they have 81 laps to go and conduct here today, and I can confirm as we sit here, there is quote-unquote a 20 to a 65% chance of rain, but there is no chance of rain for at least the next 45 minutes. But I see on my radar out there at this moment in time a slither of blue in the top left corner, which to me indicates that rain is imminent and drivers are going to have to be alert to that. And especially if they have to throw a safety car early, that's going to start making drivers question whether they want to stick or whether they want to twist. So we're taking a look at the live radar here. There's hardly anything that is showing up. It's not quite close enough for that, so you've got to get all the way over to the compass for the live radar to show. But on the forecast, it is getting and moving, so keep an eye out on that as far as it goes. They will have a minute and a half to grid themselves up then and get themselves ready. And key thing here, David, it's a staggered start here, but not in terms of grid stalls. So first and second, there's no advantage to it. You're just on the same line.
Yeah, some grid formations at different tracks give us different things. So some give us a Formula One style staggered grid. Some give us a touring car, supercars style rows. And Sandown, one of those circuits that gives us the rows. It means Borg and Ross are absolutely side by side. Ross has the grippy side of the road, but Brian Borg will have the inside for turn one. One thing I did notice about those qualifying times, I reckon Christian Smart and Damien Cairns have deliberately qualified 37th and 38th. And they will be on the other side of the pit entry. We saw shenanigans with this at Oran Park. I guess they can't really do that here at Sandown. Looks like they won't be starting from the grid.
No, and Damien Cairns actually has gone onto the grid on a set of wet tyres. He is the only driver on a set of wets. Everybody else is on a set of dries, and I don't think that is a right decision by any stretch of the imagination. And Cairns, I think, is going to have to come in on lap 2. He's actually gone back to the pits, realised, oops, I'm on wet, and now he's desperately going to try and put a set of dries on to go out because he realises he's going to be there. He has missed the start, so he's going to have to go from pits. Brian Borg in control. Jordan Ross and the championship leader, Wayne Walker, behind. Let's get ourselves underway here at Sandown for 81 laps. And it's an almighty start then from Jordan Ross, who will try and sweep it around the outside to get this sorted. Borg holds his ground and says, I'm going to get there. Bent wants a way through. A few cars running wide. Big turnabout in the mid-pack, and they're going to scarper.
Yeah, Dan Hall turned around. Damon Fisher, a bunch of other drivers driving into that. It was also a terrible getaway from Troy Stone Street and Paul Young. Travis Hunt's cut the track, got himself a slowdown. There's a few damaged Shadow Racing cars amongst that as we head down the back street and over the crest.
Yeah, so now Sean McNamara down on the inside. He's going to want to fight and get by Kenneth Latter. He'll manage that one then, going through at turn 6, through the S's now, and on to turn number 9. Hit the brakes hard and make sure that you hold your moment here, and you get a big check-up as everyone looks to slow back. Brad Goble almost running into the back of Justin McClay.
The lap gets completed quickly here, but there's a few drivers that haven't had the greatest race start that they wanted. Damien Cairns missing the grid, almost a blessing in disguise. Damien Fisher turned around, back on the field. Dan Hall down 13 spots after a little bit of contact with that squeeze that always happens from the runoff of turn 1 to the tighter chicane here, single file 2 and 3.
And and this is a case of get as many laps in as you want to, or as you need to here, make the race easier and easier as you go. And so as they fight the tight chicane, that's key. Chad Lewis then in after the opening lap of the race, which indicates to me here, David, that's for damage repair and will not count as one of the 2 compulsory stops.
Yeah, he only got to the end of lap 1. Needs to get 1 lap further for that to count as a compulsory stop, but CPS might kind of go out the window a little bit if we do get that rain and drivers pit in reaction to the weather, rather than just 2 times to clear the regulatory requirement. So you could still maybe come back from that.
Yeah, there's opportunity here, especially if it does start to get slippery and we see cars jumping off the road. McNamara still chasing Bents in the back of the 4th position. Wayne Walker with the fastest lap check mark, which will be a couple of bonus points in the back pocket should that hold. And there's going to be a lot of emphasis on trying to get those in the background. Michael Taliancic then having a good go here against Paul Young. Look at this as they head to 2 and 3, and it's going to be Young holding his ground, saying, look, I've got the inside here for this very tight 1-line chicane, and I will also drive it off the exit of 4. We're really hemmed in out of 4 because you've got the lake on the right side.
Yeah, you've got houses, you've got the horse racing track, you've got a creek, and the whole racetrack fits in between that. The arm code feels so close in that section between turn 3 and then all the way around on the back straight here, where they've opened up the runoff a little bit more in recent years as well. It used to be so much more closer and treacherous, and then you've got that deep gravel trap at the outside of turn 9 there. An interesting chicane here. The second part is way tighter, so almost everyone monsters the curb of the first part, tries to stay to the right-hand side to open up to drive off the left part of the corner and down the front straight where speed is so critical.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely everything you could hope for, and then Summers, Taliancic then looks to try and put through and say, look, I want a move, I want a way through, but he's going to have to find his line and just stay calm at the moment, and this is a good chance as well, knowing that fuel burn's going to be a big key factor to how much you go with, to say, look, I want everything that's necessary out there. I am taking a look at that weather formation, and it is actually coming across sideways here at this point in time, David. It might miss the circuit entirely.
It's a Melbourne day, but you can see there is some weather out there on the radar. Just how heavy is it? How much is behind it? How quickly is it coming? What's it going to do? It's just Melbourne weather. Pack an umbrella, pack a jacket, pack your swimmers. You're going to need all of it today, and you're going to need to just react to what the weather does as it comes.
Yeah, that reaction, I think, is the biggest key of keeping your eyes open and keep as many options on the table as you can. Our focus still is currently piloting about right now for the final spot in the top 10. We go back up to Benson McNamara here on lap 5 of 81. The top 3 have worked themselves away. Ross, Borg and Walker, they find themselves at the margin that they are necessary with. Jason Bent, they're in that 4th spot with Sean McNamara in 5th. They're trying to work out, okay, how do we stay with this? Because we're 1.2 seconds off the back. We'll still get toe along these straights, but we're looking for ways to climb forward with Damien Cairns and Bruce Tanner having already served their first of 2 compulsory pit stops.
Everyone's on slick tyres for the moment. And again, even if you take that opening 50 metres, how far away the rain is, I think the first stop is going to be onto another set of slick tyres. And then after that, work out what the weather is doing and if you need to make a change.
We're expecting here, if you can take the full tank out, as you saw there, Brian Borg just holding his ground and saying, hey look, I'm going to be close. And this does have a pack mentality style of circuit feel to it, that if you lose that car in front, you're going to be a little bit more troublesome the way you can try and gather that back. But at the moment, Jason Bent, I think, is trying to hold back and say, look, I've got something here later on, and if they do catch traffic, that's also going to be a way to try and make it work, because there are sections of the circuit as the track narrows up into the fast left-hander here in turn 6. You really get the sense of, okay, well, actually, how much room do I have to go and make everything in terms of overtaking? And so if it is narrow and you've got traffic in front, you've got a really good chance of pulling back some time.
So it's groups of 3 in the lead. Ross, Borg, and Walker. Then Bence, McNamara, and Latta. Dean Logsdale, Phil Manuel, and Mark Poynton. Poynton's the biggest gainer inside of the top 10. You can see that on the timing column now. Up 3 spots, because it was around that 10th place where Paul Young and Troy Stonestreet got a bad getaway from the standing start. And then it was out wherever Dan Hall was, around 15th, 18th position. The next group went off on the opening lap, and some drivers came through there and picked up some positions. So it was throughout the field, most positions gained.
Matt Brunt, the best of them, in 26th position, so he's jumping up and doing quite well. That's a car off on the left-hand side. There's another one. Yeah, absolutely right there. I think that might have been Sean Vandermeulen there who was going slow, and he was right in on the back of Ricky Hyde. He's tapped the back of him. The air's been taken off the car, and he has gone around.
There's a massive braking zone there at turn 1. The track surface is a little bit finicky, and then sometimes you leap over that exit curb and across the runoff, and sometimes you just touch it, and sometimes you get high-sided and skateboarded on it. He's just had that check-up and lifted the throttle right at the apex that's unsettled the car when it's lift off oversteer almost.
He's so lucky that he wasn't ploughed into by 2 or 3 more cars, completely loaded through that section, and it makes life really tough if you have that hit. So he's done well to get out of it. Here's another look then at what's happened a little bit further down, and that is not the tip around that you want to see, and that almost would have been a beaching.
Yeah, you can get high-sided on those curbs. We've seen it before. Drivers get stuck on, and this is that opening lap. Paul spun into one, into another. There's when Chad Lewis picks up his damage. Christian Smart gets a bit as well.
Never seen a crash in slow motion quite as dramatic as that, but that was a case of, okay, you're 4 wide and everyone's trying to move back over to allow everyone space, and Dan Hall, who's in the middle of the road, minding his own business, just gets hooked.
One does question if it was Dan Hall's decision to take that 4 wide that moment. Well, that's always the squeeze that happens in turn 1.
Oh, trouble! Tanak and Vandermeulen right in front of the leaders have come together, and so that was disastrous. I think Vandermeulen had just come out of the pit in the line of sight of the leaders, and Tanak's gone sailing into turn 1, and he has completely caught the driver who, if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all.
I think he might have yet lifted out to try to let these leaders go, so he was perhaps fractionally off pace there and target fixated.
It's a big miss there. I mean, Vandermeulen can't do anything to get out of the way. He's almost off the circuit trying to avoid it. Tanak's just locked it up. He's gone sailing in deep, and boop, round you go. And Bruce Tanak, I think, is going to be copping a misdemeanor for that one at the bare minimum.
Yeah, so race control will be thoroughly busy at this one. Not seeing any energy standard out from him yet, but no doubt there's a few things that very much might consider one. Slow down penalties. Dan Hall serving one, I think at Dandenong Road on the way into turn 9. They're all doing that. So easy to hop a little bit of that curve.
Yeah, and officially here, a black flag for speeding on the lane for Sean Vandermeulen, and so I think he'll be writing this day off pretty quickly right now. Hardly anything you can go to gather that back, and so keep a very close eye on how that will all play out in factor. So for the moment, there is Sean Vandermeulen at the moment, and goodbye. He decides as soon as we went to him, he's gone, right, I don't want to be on this wall anymore. I think I am going to just call my day back at this moment in time. I think he's a very, very upset customer as far as this moment goes. Now, Jordan Ross over the last 4 or 5 laps here, David, has started to turn the screw here against Brian Paul. dropping back and losing time. On this lap, it's another 0.2 of a second. So Wayne Walker started to think about, okay, we could lose here the likes of Jordan Ross here, so we've got to be really, really switched on for what we need to be doing next.
Yeah, and just like Oran Park a week ago, it's so easy to make a pit stop and end up a lap down, and therefore having quite a few damaged cars having done that, some attempting to take some alternative strategies as well. We've seen the leaders have to make their way through a lot of traffic, including that Sean Vandermeulen incident there, and I think Jordan Ross has just managed to be a slightly better placed at slightly better times than Brian Borg for that as well. Looks like McNamara getting around the outside of Bentz on the back straight. Now Taliancic is going to try to do similar. What did Synergy Sim Racing put in their coffee?
I would say something full of adrenaline would be the case for McNamara. He really got that set up for turn 6 and just commanded the inside. Bentz had to let him have it, and now Kenneth Latter here for Fishy Motorsports wants a way to go through. There he is right now. He has a little look over and goes, yeah, okay, right, let's just focus. I'm going to put myself a half a car width out, try and get myself in the mirror, sail it into turn 1. A lot of grit and determination into the opening corners with 2 and 3 immediately to follow, but there's the issue being third in the train. Car in front of you is always going to get a toe. Always turn in from the curb at turn 4 to just give yourself that little bit more width in what's a really narrow part of the track. It's up just a little bit as you begin to head uphill. Fastest point of the racetrack is here. Almost run out of 6th gear for a long curved braking zone downhill. Steadfast in this group, sits at about 2.5 seconds off the back of Wayne Walker at this moment. Behind that, Dean Lonsdale trying to dispatch some lap traffic there, and Bruce Tannekin does so. And this is what we were talking about here. So Phil Manuel suddenly finds that there's a gap between he's going to get by Tanneck. Mark Poynton also wants to find his way through. So they are going to be thinking about this, going, well, okay, we might lose ground with the car in front, but this might be Poynton's chance to try and throw it. It's side by side in front as Kenneth Latter runs into troubles then as he tried to go through. There was contact between him and Jason Bentz. He couldn't get it slowed up and basically said, look, I've got into the side of you, I'll let you keep the place, but that's going to really cost them a little bit. McNamara's bolted out of this as Bentz and Latter have lost just a little bit of time. See the next group of 3 drivers back there with Dean Lonsdale. Phil Manuel doing well just behind him in 8th, and Poynton still in 9th. Not so much field spread in the top 10, top 15, knowing that there is a fair amount of jeopardy and risk to the strategy today with the looming weather that remains quite unpredictable. And that's the key, isn't it? It's unpredictable out here today. You can't guarantee anything is going to work. As we look at the lovely Ray White machine then for the old maiden sons, Alex Kiddis and Shane Randell with Travis Hunt all there together. Randell and Hunt have started today outside of the top 20, and Randell up 7, Travis Hunt up 2 so far in progress as they are working hard at this stage. And this is also maybe one of the reasons why we're seeing an elongated first stint here for many, David. I think a lot of people are thinking about, well, we've not got that much of a field spread at this moment, so we're going to find ourselves in a very tough place. Look at Ron Allen here for M1 Racing, looking to attack Dean Flavelle here. Car off on the left-hand side as they go through. That is Alex Kiddis, who's had a moment through one. There's a little bit more damage on that. So he's had a moment, perhaps with that curb on the exit of turn 1, as you say. Greg Sharp all over him at the moment. Flavel's made out like a bandit with all of that. Spot or 2. Like you say, track position's pretty king here at Sandown. So easy to go off the lead lap with your pit stop. That's why they'll try to run long in this opening stint. And then also it gives them a clearer picture of what the weather is doing. This is our clear picture of Alex Kiddis running wide, high-siding and rotating on that exit curve. It's such a tall curve. almost trying to bolt to get onto the race course itself there for Alex Kidd, as that Mustang he did not have control of it. Now we got Takers starting to think about coming into the pits then. That's Matt Brunt deciding that he's going to make his stop out there, and an all-important one at that as well. And troubles again for Bruce Tanner off the road, this time at turn 1. This time he got the curb, and he got Paul Young as well with him.
Yeah, he's still sitting in this place where he's going a lap down to the whole top 10. We saw him let the top 3 go, then he let the next go, and then in that next group, he's had an issue, and then there has been contact with 13th place Paul Young, who's lost a couple of spots and is now outside of the top 10.
I'll tell you what, Bruce Tannock has had a day here so far, David, where he's quote-unquote woken up and found that the air conditioning unit doesn't work, and he's gone to go have a cold shower and it can only come out hot.
Yeah, no good. He's trying to stay out of the way down the front straight here because he's between the battle of Shane Randell and Travis Hunt at the moment. So he'll be getting blue flags from Travis Hunt, who's directly behind him. There's another little bit of movement that's gone through. So they form Ross, Borg, Walker, the top 3, McNamara, Bent and Latta, the 3 that follow after that, and then pretty much everybody else following Dean Logsdale is the next group that is out there and available. So they're all trying to do well. Jordan Ross finding himself close. Now keep an eye on Michael Taliancic here. Mark Point's not had a good Dandenong road, and so this is maybe the next place we're going to see this move here. This is trying to set up for 9th place, and Taliancic struggles there through the final corners of 12 and 13 and onto the front stretch once again. Good run by Mark Poynton. He's covered it off for the moment, but look at Phil Manuel now pulling out about a 7-car length advantage. Yeah, great battles in this group. Troy Stonestreet's the only driver down position so far, and all of that was just the standing start. It'll be a little bit of a lottery. Even the best drivers struggle with it sometimes, pick up some wheel spin, likes of Jordan Ross and Wayne Walker. So, and we've seen a few jump starts this season and seasons played as well, so it's never easy with the standing start, and Troy Stonestreet got caught out by that and sort of put him on the back foot amongst this group, being led by Manuel, Poynton, Taliancic and Barnett in front of him. He's got to be careful here at the top of turn 6 here with Mark Poynton, because I think he's just catching the curbs a little bit too heavy as he goes forward. So he's tried to catch the curve here through the right, and he's had to catch the slide aggressively. He's been across on the inside. So what would that indicate to you, David? Do you think he's maybe running cams that are a little bit too heavy? I'd indicate that almost all of these curbs are upsetting the cars a little bit. So if they get too much of that exit curb at 1, if you get the curbs wrong from 2 and 3 here, it's just an issue with the curbs for some. Yeah, that issue is going to be key. Taliancic is going to keep an eye on it. Now, I do want to show you the weather formations at the moment as Dan Hall comes in for his first stop, because you don't often get to see what happens on that formation that comes through. The weather pattern that is looking to aim for the circuit has completely dissipated out there, so you can see it there. Radar as it comes in. Look at it, it's disappeared, it's gone, it's petered out. What's the distance on that? Might have just reached, I don't know, Tullamarine or Essendon Fields, but it hasn't made its way to the CBD or to the eastern suburbs. So pack your brolly in, I don't know, sunshine or something like that, but it's not here down in Springvale. No, not at all. And so for the moment, they'll be quite happy that, okay, we don't have to worry about things for the next 20 laps or so. We'll just continue trying to plod on with what we have available to us. So this is going to be a case now of holding the momentum out there and say, look, this is what it's going to be. Sean Vandermeer has a black flag when he decides he wants to come out of the pits. So that's just what they have announced on the radio here. So he has to clear
there. The penalty is now put into position. He'll have to come in and serve that. But Manuel now starting to become the log jam rather than Logsdale.
Indeed, could be some drivers aiming to save pretty heavily to extend this first stint. Your idea of what the weather is doing inside the car is a little foggier, dare I say it, than us, sitting studiously studying the weather radar, whereas you're driving, you're trying to do all of the aspects of driving and then keep a little bit of an eye on what it's doing. But some of them might think it could be coming heavier than it is, and so trying to save fuel to reach a point where that pit stop can happen when the weather eventually calms. The pit lane could get very, very crowded here at Sandown, by the way, as there's only 20 pit stalls for 38 drivers. So I never had bunk beds as a kid, but school camp certainly, and that's what the pit lane could look like if we get a rush around the pit windows. Jordan Ross leading with a slowdown.
Oh, that's going to be big, and now he's going to have to be careful about how he serves this. Brian Borg now has a great opportunity to close this one down for the race lead here. So it's still there at the moment for Jordan Ross. He's lifting very early into the opening corner, trying to get that served, but Jordan Ross realising he's running out of time here now. He's got to try and block up this chicane to serve it tactically, and he's doing very well at this. And now again comes over defensive on the inside, hoping more gets served, still not clear, and now he's going to have to be very worried he can't get the power down. There goes one, there goes two, and that might be a crucial moment. Drive through, he didn't serve it in time.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. He could have given it up on the front straight, but he knew it would have meant letting one or two cars through. Instead, he waited too long. He lost those positions, and then a drive-through. This is massive for Wayne Walker in the championship, and my goodness, it's going to make it tough for Jordan Ross to outscore him today.
And the thing you've got to remember about that, I can't fault Jordan Ross for the way he's trying to serve it, but it is entirely self-inflicted.
Absolutely, it is. There's your provisional points, and as he serves the drive-through, you're actually going to see them disappear in live time. 1-4-3-4, 1-4-3-2. Ouch, ouch.
Stop and hold.
I'd have just taken the drive-through here because it's not a particularly long pit lane, although it is slow at a pit speed of 60 kilometers an hour. You need to slow down so early in that pit entry. That's how drivers will be getting speeding on pit lane penalties from it. This could be a really long hold for Jordan Ross. I think it'll add 40 seconds to his pit stop, whereas a straight-up drive-through looks like it costs more like 20.
Yeah, so for Jordan Ross, I think he realises here he is seeing this championship go up in smoke as it stands. Remember, he's got 2 drop rounds. That might be what he's going to have to rely on. A car running into trouble. Ricky Hyde is going to come out ahead, and look at how far he's still there. He's actually going to lose a lap out there at the moment. So Brian Borg, your leader, Wayne Walker in second, and Jordan Ross, God, his head will be in his hands at what he's done.
It's such a crazy set of dominoes, isn't it? Because we've seen other drivers pick up slowdown penalties at turn 7, I believe. He might have got it at that final chicane. And if you take the lick and you take your medicine, it costs you half a second. In his case, it's going to cost him a little bit of track position. But, say la vie, but in this case, it has gone and whacked him 40 seconds easily, which is here 2/3 of a lap, which puts him down into 34th position.
And what makes it worse here, and this is what I want to point out, we need to go back a little bit further on it. What makes it worse is the fact that, okay, if you serve it later, it takes too much. So he's gone very aggressive through the first part, overcuts it in the second part there. 2 tyres up over on the grass, and that's going to do it there for Jordan Ross. but if you serve it quickly, it's out of the way. If you serve it slowly, there is a chance that that penalty, it's not fixed that, oh, you need to just give up 0.8. It moves, it's a sliding system.
So I think you see that the centre line of the car is out over the grass, not on top of the curb, so that might have been the cut track there. And again, other place that it's easy to do is at turn 7. You almost backtrack from where the black flag appeared to find out where he cut the track. But we understand the nature of the mistake. We understand the nature of the penalty, and it's brutal, but it's not unfair.
No, I think it's entirely deserved, and that's the important thing to remember. This is deserved. Now a secondary wave looking to come in from the north by the looks of things to try and move on down here. A stronger weather front, Category 1 rain there as Travis Hunt leaves pit lane, and so keep an eye out on that then as far as that is sorted. Now Wayne Walker, he only now has to dispatch of Brian Borg in the remaining 50-plus laps of this race. 57 laps to go here, David, and he could be staring down 6 straight wins.
This was a 20-lap sprint. Brian Borg would be unstoppable, but this season, while he's been quick at many occasions, hasn't quite got a handle and maximised the 2 pit stop strategies that some of the other drivers have really got sorted out around maximising their track position, using the undercut on the tyres effectively and avoiding traffic. That's the last piece of the puzzle, I think, for Brian Borg to be a consistent race winner and championship threat in V8 Vets. He absolutely could be with the ball pace that he's got. There's still 2 pit stops ahead of him, and Wayne Walker is a master of conserving his tyres, conserving his fuel, and gaining the pit stops correctly. McNamara from 4th comes in.
Yep, so this will be his first stop, and the first real big stop of the leaders then to go and get serviced, then sorted. And now, Logan Barnett had that all locked up, trying to get that one in on the lane. It's a very quick line that you've got to get sorted for, and you know you don't have long to get to that 60 kilometres an hour. He really had to get that sideways.
Yeah, like the Bend and Oran Park, two tracks where you're basically braking on the racing line to be able to get slowed down in time for the yellow cones that are right there on the edge. So yeah, a couple of drivers pitting, 26 seconds of fuel for McNamara, Barnett doing similar, Greg Sharp and Jeff Thomas getting their stops done as we look on board with Paul Young, another one of those drivers with a tough getaway, and also raise your hand if you've been victimised by Bruce Tannock. That's hurt Paul Young just a little bit. But he's a fighter, and he's certainly always good for a podium multiple times a season in V8 Vets lately.
Very much so. Scott Mackay just behind him. He lapped down Jordan Ross, and then John Latham there in 12th position, plus 12. Look at Latham with that footwork then, trying to just ride through, get the power down as he works then with throttle and brake on the right foot, trying to get that to flip down then as he looks to shift, and he's basically having to ride between the pedals there with that style that he has. Now, just keep an eye on what he's trying to do there, really working there. That's 3 pedals worth of work there for the price of 2 feet.
Yeah, fantastic footwork to just maximise his braking in the big stopping zones and not lock up the rear tyres. See him, I think, stay in 3rd gear basically that whole trip from turn 1 across the curbs at 2 and 3, and then traction out at turn 4. So in Gen 3 supercars, what we're seeing a lot of, particularly here in V8 Vets, the way that these fixed setups work, is drivers staying in those high gears and using that to just minimise wheel spin, conserve tyre life, and get consistent drive off of slow corners.
Bent and Latter now come into the pit, so they make their stops from 3rd and 4th respectively, which allows still your front 2 out there who have been working through the traffic of Damien Cairns, Jeff Thomas and Ricky Hyde, so they managed to clear them, but Latter and Bent, I don't think, want to deal with that traffic here. Lap 28, we're just about reaching the limit of what drivers can do. We're going to start saying pit window is firmly open. Keep an eye on where McNamara is then by comparison out there on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a congested racetrack it can be. You just see Jordan Ross get out of the way of John Latham, which must be a bizarre feeling for both of them, for all involved. Tell me I'm not seeing wet tyres go on Ken Latter's car.
No, you have seen wet tyres go on Ken Latter's car. Oh my goodness.
It's not only 20 minutes too early, even if that rain comes.
Oh, that's big. That's Matthew Stoyles. He might just have the saving grace. Stoyles right next to the circuit. We might have to see a safety car for that. The front is ripped off of it.
There's going to be another riding the curb on the outside of turn 1. I'm sure of it. Boynton and Stone Street jump into the lane as they come past. Morgan Walker haven't had the opportunity, and that's right in the firing line because he speared it off, and the next driver who does the same.
Safety car deployed. That is a huge let-off for Kenneth Latter, who's on the wrong set of tyres.
He'll get his second CPS under this safety car.
Absolutely he will. Absolutely he will. And he'll get to put the dry tyres back on. Matthew Stoyles in the wall on the inside of turn 1, and a safety car now gets called, and all of a sudden the game has just changed.
Yeah, almost everyone's racing into pit lane. Not seeing anyone staying out except those who've already stopped. And seeing Jeff Thomas in the wall under safety car. Ryan Borg and Wayne Walker make their way to the lane.
Oh, Alex Kiddes is at risk of being disqualified here. He's going backwards down the pit lane.
I said only 20 pit stalls. It's bunk beds. Everyone's got to share with someone.
Got a penalty flag awaiting him. He's had a warning issued against him, but I'm not sure what that's going to be applied for. But he has found himself then the ability to get into his box, and he might have got away with it. Safety car is currently out then, and he's going to be waiting for everyone to go through, and that is going to be big as far as they now set. So everybody now's looking at their stops. Borg, Walker, and the key's going to be, for me, McNamara, who will get his second stop compulsory in, and effectively, he is going to be the driver in the driver's seat now.
Yeah, Borg and Walker have taken the opportunity to absolutely brim the tank, though, so their second pit stop, when it comes, could be very quick, and if we do have a second stop needed for rain tyres in the near future, then I think they're going to be okay versus these other drivers that have cleared their 2 CPS in dry conditions.
Look, they're going to have to fill it up to the brim here because they can roughly do about 47 to 51 laps in dry conditions on a set on a tank of fuel. There are 52 laps to go in this race, so they can, in theory, take this one to 2 laps to go, put a cup of fuel in at the end of this race and go if it stays dry. There's an issue though. It's not going to stay dry. That weather formation is starting to rear its head and close in on Sandown.
Yeah, it started promising, weakened, and then you see it's reforming as cloud seeding of Collins Street gets to it, and it passes over South Bank and the MCG. So Project Fade Streetwear safety car has picked up Brian Borg. There was a bit of drama at the beginning of that safety car for Jeff Thomas, and someone else ran wide, and it might have been their rejoin down there at turn 9, because I saw someone off the road racing to pit entry under safety car. And Ken Latter's got himself back on some slicks, thank goodness.
Oh, Jeff Thomas has actually been turned coming off of Dandenong Road by Ricky Hyde. So issue out of turn 9 where he just didn't go, and Ricky Hyde didn't see it, and he just turned him across the nose.
My oh my. Now, I wonder what sort of a wave around situation we might get here behind the safety car, because with the long stops for Borg and Walker has meant that I think we've got 35 cars on the lead lap. I think it's just Bruce Tannick running, who's off the lead lap at the moment. The Might actually be a few more than that as they're just coming across the start-finish line. It is updating, but I think pretty importantly, I'm looking at where this puts Jordan Ross. 34th and still a lap down. He's going to need a wave around to be back in contention.
Well, there'll be a lot of wave arounds coming along. It would be Thomas, Ullman, Sharp, Brunt, Ross, Flavel, Tannock, Stoyles. Matthew Stoyles 3 laps down and in the barrier, so he's not going to get one. But ultimately, there's going to be about a half dozen who will be asking for a wave around out there at this point. And they are desperately going to want to get back on that lead lap. And Jordan Ross is going to be one of them screaming about, going, come on, this is my chance. Get me a chance to go through. Now we're going to start hearing about the labour rounds that are heading their way about. So that's going to be quite critical at this phase. So Thomas gets one, Sharp Coleman gets one, so they'll both get the wave around. Greg Sharp now, Matt Brunt will get the wave around. And now Jordan Ross will be allowed the way back onto the leading lap of this race, surely, as the next one asking for the wave around.
Race controller, gonna have a look. Think about wave around here. We've had every driver on slick tyres except for the safety car driver. So the safety car's on some wet tyres. As the wave arounds go by, everybody will come that curve.
Careful. Well, managed that one without too much concern there, but the Project Phase Street Layer safety car making good progress then around circuit and is doing a very nice job of just holding itself steady. Now, let's take a look at this then. This is Matthew Stoyles, and the reason for this, so he's already cut up behind, he takes the natural line, oh, it's just broken away from him and straight into
Technical
the wall,
failure.
almost like the wheels failed.
Now that reeks of technical failure for me. So he's letting Sharp go, who might have been a lap up on him. It's way... This is like screen goes black stuff. That's what it looks like.
That's a screen failure. Everything would have frozen up, and Matthew Stoyles, nothing he can do about that. That's a big hit into the wall. Now Jeff Thomas here. This will be about a lap away from now. So that would have been about here. So you can see he'll get the call for safety car out there, and then he doesn't go, and Ricky Hyde just goes bang into the back.
A whole heap of gravel, and that will have been through the rejoining car that has just been through there as well. So I wonder if that had him slow up a little bit.
Let's listen here and see what the radio calls are going to be here. So you can see Jeff Thomas. And if that's happened while the safety car is already out, that's an even bigger no-no from Ricky Hyde. Because he should know better, David.
Yes. 36 drivers back on the lap now. We're going to restart at the end of this lap. 49 laps to go. Wide band of light rain. Now looking about 15 minutes away. We've seen this intensity of rain in Vets before at Fuji, and it needs to stick around a little bit longer than 15 minutes to make the wet tyres viable. But the presence of the raindrops on the windscreen can often freak the drivers out and they go to wets too early.
That's going to be the concern then as they go. We've got 49 to go at the line. Brian Wrong in control and driving hard away for it as we get back to this restart. McNamara back in 14th place, the best of those with 2 pit stops, looking to try and charge up the order. On the brakes we go then. Jason Bent even better with his 2 stops that are done at the moment. So Bent's in control of those who have the compulsory pit stops. No moves offered through the leading part of the field, but now it's about focus, it's about poise, it's about getting yourself through as they take turn 4 and cross Mile Creek up the hill.
So Wayne Walker with that good getaway. It's a few other drivers deeper in the field looking to make some moves. Sean McNamara just behind Ron Allen. So McNamara is the second driver in the train that has cleared the compulsory pit stop requirement, and ideally he wants to go all the way to the end.
Oh, and he's not going to get it there at turn 6. He really gave that a good go. Ron Allen says, I'm better than you on the brakes. You're not getting by me like that. Jason Bent has his eyes set on Mark Poynton just in front, and a massive gap there behind for Allen and McNamara. That's exactly what he needs right now. Ron Allen right now is doing Jason Bent's duties.
So 2 pit stops completed within the CPS windows. Bent's, McNamara, Ken Latter and Justin McLean in that order out on track. So Bent's would like the pace to stay slow so that Borg, Walker, those others up front don't get to build a pit stop gap on him.
No, and critically, with the rain arriving too, is the question of, is it going to be wet enough for wets? That's also what they're trying to navigate through, whether they're putting a wet tyre, whether there will be the crossover window that they have available to them. They have got to be switched on as and when the right time is. So they climb the crest here over towards turn 6, and now McNamara sends it down the inside of Ron Allen. This time he gets it done, 1 lap later than he wanted.
Only 8 seconds away from the race lead. And is for that race leader with Walker just behind him. Broken away a little bit from Logsdale and Barnett. Great positions gained from Barnett, +9. It's 15 from John Latham. So giving us the pedal cam. There's McNamara cam. Sean McCamnamara.
I think you're stretching it at this point, like he's trying to stretch the fuel. Look how much torque there was through the steering wheel through turn 2, how heavy he was against the curve.
Yeah, if you've got your settings all the way up, this is one of the newer iRacing tracks, should have 3D curbs, and even then they're mountainous as well as ridged. So every time you leap across those curbs, you do feel it. But you want to be able to feel it, to have an idea of what the car is doing. If you can't, or you lose that feeling, that's where you end up being one of the drivers that, you know, spins it up on the curb and ends up in the danger zone. So, yeah, physical kind of track, Sandown.
And Dean Logsdale currently in 3rd position is the one who's having to do a lot of holding back now. This is Logan Barnett in the 911. The Kiwi wants away to go up to the podium here, taking all of the road on the outside, leading it across to try and open up the corner here at turn 1, and leading lap 1 to turns 2 and 3 here. The right-left flick here through the chicane. This is where Dean's got to be careful. A little bit too much grab of the curve there from Logan Barnett. Just can't settle him up, and behind that, Phil Manuel having to look behind at Paul Young.
Shots cropped a little bit. Can we go from 35mm to IMAX on Dean Logsdale, Cam? Yeah, he's in 3rd place at the moment. That's a great spot to be, having qualified 8th. These Synergy Sim Racing drivers, they add something, because Jordan Ross is, you know, had a bizarre misstep of a race, but his teammates have been so bold and so brave. So Barnett just there in 4th place and 9 positions gained, is pushing hard. We've seen some brave moves from Michael Taliancic, and then Sean McNamara is on a very, very promising strategy as well today.
Yeah, there's lots of people there as a points penalty will come in for Ricky Hyde, no shocks about that. Everyone's got their own little groups going at the moment, which include, that's a little bit wide there behind in 5th place by Phil Manuel. He just about covers off his line then in 5th and 6th positions. He walks through a little feint to the inside's not there. I was going to say Brenton O'Brien in a bit of a scrap right now, because Dean Hunt and Brenton O'Brien have just come together through turn 1. O'Brien has to work his way back across the grass. Everyone's going to have to scatter around Brenton here. Dan Hall, secondary contact there as Hall, his teammate, sends it around, and there's a log jam.
Yeah, and then, driving into it for the 2nd time goes Travis Hunt, I think.
Jordan Ross. Oh, that's a poor rejoin. Oh, that's a horrible rejoin by Jordan Ross.
Absolute carnage down at turns 2 and 3. big damage to Jordan Ross and a bunch of our other championship contenders. They're going to try to drive away from the scene. They've lost almost the whole part of a lap, and that is nasty and messy. And it all began, with Hunt and O'Brien?
Even if they're limping like that, I still think a safety car will have to be called. Look at the damage to the front of Jeff Thomas.
Oh, well, he's managed to shed that damage, so that's a ablative heat shield, perhaps. My, oh my.
I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned. Lemony Snicket, what a series of unfortunate events that was. Right, there's a lot to go. He's going to get himself back to pit lane here with not much left. That is a modified if ever I've seen one. But ultimately, that is going to set itself up and say, for Jordan Ross, he is having the worst, Thursday night that I think he's had in a very, very long time. Group continues the battle at the moment. Poynton now sees Jason Bents through, and Bents will now look at Brad Doble next, but McNamara's on the back.
Looks like Dan Hall in pit lane at the moment. Thomas driving down the lane, getting his repairs too.
Right, let's see this one then from beginning to end. So it starts with Brenton O'Brien and Travis Hunt here. Hunt goes for the move down the inside of turn one. He overcooks it in deep. O'Brien leaves him the space and bang, into the side of Brenton he goes. Brenton rejoins the circuit here. Dan Hall decides he wants to go the other way to get the move done on his own teammate. Locks it up and creates the contact there with the old mate and sons car. Jordan Ross is into the firing line, as is Jeff Thomas. And then everybody then just realises, hang on a minute, we're all disorientated. Where do we go? And then it continues on. Bruce Tannert gets involved with it. Ross comes back, bang! That is a horrible rejoin.
JWM Sim Sport. Absolute spare parts yard. So Travis Hunt's just gotten going again. Partly blindsided by Kiddis, who stopped in the middle of the road. I think that kind of prevents Hunt from seeing Ross. It might also prevent Ross from seeing Hunt. And there was 2 or 3 other stopped cars that might have blocked the relative from Jordan Ross. So he might have thought he was clear there. But then Travis Hunt gets going. He's back up to speed. My oh my, mess.
And on top of that, Logan Barnett has gone through. Alex Kiddis with that mechanical flag. Barnett got the move done. Lap 39, turn 1. Oh, engine!
Well, it'll make it to pit lane because pit entry is right here. It is going to lay down a bit of smoke in the final corners there.
It's not a full blow, and that's the key there. It's still got something, but it's throwing oil all over the circuit there is Alex Kiddis.
This race has been very boring and predictable, Jake. Do you know what I think we need?
Rain.
We need it to rain in 10 minutes for some reason. My oh my, just approaching the halfway point of 250 kilometers about now. And we've had a whole Thursday night's worth of action in the first 125 Ks. And then cat meet pigeons per the weather radar in a couple of minutes.
And Jordan Ross is officially a retiree here in this one at Sandown. So he will not be returning back to victory as he did 6 seasons ago here at this wonderful racetrack. So it's now only Wayne Walker who has previously had a victory around here. Now keep an eye out for those who are making their stops and thinking about what is the right call for me. Alex Kiddis, by the way, has just come out on a set of wet tyres. He's got nothing to lose. That's a gamble.
Well, the thing about Sandown, though, is because it's such a short lap, you're never...
Ron Allen! Sorry,
Ron
Allen,
a minute
Kenneth
away.
Latter. Ron Allen, Kenneth Latter have had a big coming together at turn 9. Allen was really trying to get that move done. Thank you, says Scott Mackay, for the pass.
So you can see the rain and react to it within 30 seconds. You're never that far away from the pit lane, unlike Mount Panorama or some other tracks. Here's the replay.
Hunter gets the move down the inside. That's the first part, leaves the room. Ron Allen then chucks it back here at the turn 9 corner and bang, into the side, pushes Kenneth Latter out the way.
And yet more gravel gets dragged onto the road at the exit of turn 9. So it was a little bit of, oh, you're down the inside of me, but then that puts you offline for the next part. I can switch back to the inside. Just misjudged it a little bit. Here they go, though. Battle on once more. Redress.
Not very happy customer either, because he's had a coming together with Alex Hidders has been off the road with his tyres that aren't working. I think he's realised gamble hasn't paid off. It's not rain, so that is going to be huge. And look at it, here comes the rain.
Well, I was going to say Sector 3 is where the rain was going to arrive from first, the northwest corner of the racetrack. And it's just a little bit of a sprinkle, enough to make the spectators start to put their umbrellas up, make the drivers reach for their windscreen wiper button. Just put more Rain-X in my washer fluid when I turned the car the other day. So I'd be ready for this.
Wow. This is where we are. We're trying to run down to the bottom of the circuit here where there is no rain as far as it currently stands, but the top side of the circuit is starting to get a sprinkle of it. And this is where Brian Borg is coming up to it through turn 6, first time with a bit of precipitation as he jumps over the curbs, looks to hit his marks, and you slowly have to dial it back and dial it back and dial it back. Walker trying to give chase, Logan Barnett then in third, and this will be, for those who come in and make a tyre change, second compulsory pit stop. So there's a lot of thought process that's going to have to go on here from this moment in time. The group goes all the way back at the moment from what is the battle right now with Paul Young to Sean McNamara, and that's the key. McNamara's only 11.5 off. Jason Bent's 10.5 seconds off the race lead.
So the number that matters in these conditions is the rain percentage. It's basically how many millimeters are falling per hour as an instantaneous, and it needs to really get beyond 3 or 4 to actually affect the grip on the racetrack. It only sits at 1 at the moment, the lowest it possibly can be, and it might climb a little bit. It has a visual effect and a psychological effect before it actually has an effect on the grip on the racing surface in these very light misting conditions. But it could get heavier in the next 5 minutes. But there's no way per the radar that this rain lasts much more than 15 minutes.
And so this is just going to be a little bit of a nervous waiting time here to see what the circuit's going to do. You can see a massive thin strip right now that's coming across the circuit. It's just going to make life a little bit difficult for everybody out there at this point. Our focus here, climbing the hill, is with Luke Ullman, who knows what it takes to win races slightly differently. He's going to be finding his way then up through and realising today's not really going to be my point-scoring affair out there to go and set. Jason Bentz, I still think, is the interesting character, because even if this race decides, look, it's not going to be wet enough for wet, he's still hoping to be within the realm of 20 seconds to get himself then the opportunity to go and win this race. He is in the wheelhouse right now as favourite as it currently stands in the Mustang Mod number 100 over the 017, and look, a little bit of spraying off of the rear tyres.
Yeah, I was going to say that the first time you can yelp is when you see the raindrops in the air, and then the next time is when you start to see some spray behind the tyres. Just as I was thinking to say it, it appeared on the back straight at lower speeds at turn 9. Not seeing it yet. That should be the wettest part of the track first. Is up at that corner.
So it's now time to hold yourself steady. Michael Taliancic under pressure now along the main straight. Here comes the opportunity now for John Latham to try and uncork a move that gets him up to 8.24 on the grid. Latham trying to chuck it down the inside. It's covered by Taliancic, and he knows that he has got to keep hitting his marks here and keeping this group steady, because already Troy Stonestreet has wandered down the road, and as they cross Mile Creek, this is going to be where they have to be absolutely stepping on it, and they'll know how bad the conditions are and how much they are worsening.
because the rain percentage has gone from 1 to 3%. So it has picked up, and it looks like it'll stay there for at least a couple of minutes. So you might start to see a little bit more pooling and puddling in places. Even with this many race cars out on track, doing a pretty good job of keeping the racing line clear. It's just starting to pick up.
Brian Borg has had a wonderful lap here. They've had to try and clear Alex Kiddis, and Wayne Walker has had a moment somewhere. He has now dropped that time, and I think this would have been trying to get around Jeff Thomas, who had screwed through turn 3 and really had nowhere to go, and basically that has ruined the rhythm then of Wayne Walker, who's now outside of a second. Brian Borg, for the first time in this race, has license to run.
Yeah, and the track temp started dropping, so it was sort of 22, 23 most of the early part of this race. But then the water hits it, evaporates, cools it off, and we're down to 18 degrees Celsius of a track temperature. And once the track temperature is underneath the ambient, then it's possible for water to sit on the surface, begin to puddle, begin to pool, and then it gets super challenging. So we've got just that little bit of rain coming down, enough that the wiper goes for Wayne Walker. It is not torrential, it's not heavy, but it's persistent for the moment.
And I'd argue it's worse like this when you get persistent rain rather than torrential, because at least you know you have to jump quickly in and convert your strategy. Here, you're just umming and ahhing the entire time.
I think if you've prepared for this weather conditions, you've got a lap time number in your mind. So fastest lap of the race is a 1:08 as Brad Doble comes into the pit lane. You've got to think that lap times have got to get closer towards minute 16, minute 18 before it's worth getting off these slicks. We've really only lost about a second and a half per lap at the moment. And so even if you're struggling a little bit in the
Doble's gone to wet.
You just got to wait till you see a lap time that's more like a minute 16. It's too early for Brad Doble, unfortunately. You see the last 3 laps for Wayne Walker. The pace drop-off in this rain falling is real, but it's not quick.
No, and I think Jeff Thomas is a big key. There's a car off the road right in front of Wayne Walker. He's going to have to be careful. Catches a bucket of oversteer on the exit there, and he now goes by Bruce Tannock, and he's very happy that he's done so without any worry at all as he looks to try and work through. This second half of the race suddenly has become one where everybody is on edge and does not quite know where the best placement is going to be. Scott Mackay has tiptoed off the road at turn 9. He'll drop 3 spots.
Yeah, it's getting tougher, and they're losing about half a second to a second of pace per lap. It still means we're sort of 4 or 5 laps away from wet tyres being quicker, let alone making up the deficit from that pit stop. So just keep an eye on it, but Wayne Walker's last lap, a little bit of traffic, 1:11.8, so he is losing about a second per lap. So is your leader, Brian Borg. We've gone from minute 9s to minute 11.5s.
Taliancic now coming out and away on a wet tyre, so he rolls the dice and goes to a wet. Brian Borg still out there though, trying to hold his conditions really heavy over the curve. He's got to avoid doing that too often. Kenneth Latter, by the way, has a slowdown penalty. Look at how much they are struggling to put power down. Wayne Walker trying to claw that gap back in. It's now back to a second.
So what number is the crossover? It looks difficult. It's getting more difficult. Surely we're still 2 or 3 seconds away. In my head, I'm putting that crossover as a minute 16. Oh, we're getting close.
iRacing penalty for Dan Hall. He's gone over the instant point limit. Phil Manuel has come in now and is coming in to make his stop now. I think we're seeing more and more deciding it's time for wet tyres.
The radar backs that in as well, because another little bit more is formed. It's holding, and so this rain's not going to clear quickly. The track won't clear quickly. Logan Barnett from third's been off the road. There is a 4-way fist fight between Jason Benson, Tom Latham, McNamara and Poynton.
Oh, watch out on the rejoin. He just about avoids everyone there. He's trying desperately to get around. He's just looped it on his own, over-committed through turn 2. It looped around at 3. Logan Barnett's shot at a podium has gone up in absolute well, smoke, but at the moment it's lost in the waters right now of Mile Creek.
And that grass is so slippery in that part of the track as well. Everyone knows it. A little bit of rain on that grass, you go off the road and it's tough to get back on. Borg's lost a bit of time. He's been struggling, but he's going to stay out. So's Wayne Walker. Again, the body language of the cars is ugly, but the lap times is only 3 or 4 seconds back. They're not losing 10, 15, 20 seconds a lap on slicks just yet.
This could be a case of 40, 50 more minutes of this. This is going to be a very awkward phase of the race. We are at 30 laps to go. Next time they cross, and Logan Barnett now is going to pull himself into pit lane and try and get his service sorted.
He carried a slowdown penalty into pit lane. Logan Barnett has a black flag now.
When it rains, it pours for him, and that's a real shame to see. Talyancic, best of those on the wets at the moment, in 20th. Take a look at the lap comparisons here. Lap 49, lost 13 seconds, but he was in the pits. This will be the first real indicator compared to Brian Borg, who slides hard through turn 9.
Yeah, so the thing about Talyancic is he's going to have confidence, but I don't know if he's going to have all that much outright speed just yet. We're kind of reaching this crossover. Down. Yeah, we're only just reaching this crossover point.
Oh,
then
Borgie!
You've got to make the time
gone
back.
Around! Brian Borg has gone around! Wayne Walker leads!
That's the wettest part of the racetrack, that end of the circuit in Sector 3 as well. So from turn 6 through to that final corner, and it's caught out Brian Borg, who looks to be struggling with it a little bit more than Wayne Walker. Now, Brunt's off at 3, yeah. Right now, I'm starting to think wets for safety.
He'll get back up to speed again, but he's definitely not looking first hand. Wayne Walker here. Now it's going to be... Oh, he gets all out of shape there. And that's huge in the... Luke Ullman as well going around there, and so there's a lot that's going on there. So Luke Ullman's gone around. Wayne Walker very much dancing at the moment between lightning strikes, as if he was listening to Taylor Swift. Another catch of the car as he works his way to turn 9 and Dandenong Road.
Oh, he's so brave in these conditions, but this has got to be the last lap. This has got to be the in-lap, surely. We're seeing on the radar that the rain is holding. The track won't get any drier staying out there. Talyancic has made up a position on track with his wet tyres, but he might have made a little bit of contact with Brenton O'Brien. And, even then, it looks ugly. The thing is, you go to a set of wet tyres and they start cold. You've got to do a warm-up phase. Even if the wet tyres clear the standing water, they're just not up to them. Walker stays out. He's seen Borg spin around, and he said, track's not wet enough yet.
And Borg stays out as well, and Brian is going to be driving angry. Brian Borg on that last lap took 1.8 seconds out of Wayne Walker.
Well, look at that little bit of traffic. Oh my goodness.
This is edge of your seat stuff. This is absolutely edge of your seat stuff. Wayne Walker right now is dancing on the absolute limit. His heart rate is going to be through the roof trying to hold this together. He's just trying to wait out the rain, and Brian Borg knows it as well, and he's trying to follow him right back into position. Jason Bentz is currently 17.5 seconds off of the race lead right now. He's still the threat in 5th place, and Borg's gone off now over at Dandenong Road, turn 9.
Couldn't stop it. Might have locked the rear. So easy to lock the rear tyres in these weather conditions, and you'd rather lock the rears than the fronts, but still so difficult. Staying out. You're kidding me.
They kind of have to. They're waiting for a weather condition out there on the track that says it's lightly wet. It is currently very lightly wet. It is not yet the crossover.
I'm seeing a little bit closer to some standing water forming. I'm seeing more spray off the back of the cars. I'm seeing that this intensity of rain will stick around, so it's so touch and go on that right now. Fastest driver on track on wet tyres at the moment looks to be Talyancic to 16.7. 16.2 from Phil Manuel. That's pretty good. That's Manuel's the fastest driver on wets at the moment.
Poynton losing the spot there. Sean McNamara jumps through up into 7th, and now McNamara wants John Latham here, working through turn 4, crossing Mile Creek here for the first time on the lap, and Paul Young just in front of that. Everybody is now just trying to hold their nerve on what is a very, very sketchy moment, and the worst bit will be that kink at turn 5, because that's where all the water's going to pull.
Yeah, so then you've got Wayne Walker doing 17.2 on slicks, Borg 17.8 on slicks, Jason Bent somehow 16.3 on slicks on the previous lap, but there are wet tyre drivers going just fractionally faster than that at the moment.
Or
The
Paul
slick
Young.
guys need to hold on to this pace.
This is going to allow John Latham to go through, and that will be a change here for the top 5. John Latham from 24th on the grid is now 5th. McNamara also finds a way through. Behind that, Justin McLean gets by Mark Poynton.
Young comes into the pit lane. Lap times update from all of these drivers. Borg's found more speed.
Bent's off the road. Jason Bent's has gone sailing at turn 1. It's going to now lose him the lap car of Damien Cairns, but nobody is safe right now on this circuit. Absolutely nobody.
It's just bang in the middle of the crossover point, and so you go like, oh, do I pit? Do I not? Not a whole lot of speed advantage to the wets, but these slicks are so difficult to manage, but they're just trying to see out the rainstorm.
And here's the thing, the more that they stay out, the colder they get. The colder they get, the harder they are to drive, David.
The lap times are on a yo-yo because we had sort of minute 18s though for these leaders, and then Brian Borg pulls out a 15.6, then he cuts the track in the final chicane. He knows to serve that slowdown. He's seen Jordan Ross's painful situation.
And it'd be easy for him to serve it now because it's wet. He would have had his time references for slowdown set in the dry.
We'll see, because he's still carrying it. It hasn't cleared itself.
There it is. That 1.6 seconds on lap 54 of this race. Wayne Walker sees Brian Thomas now within 9/10 of a second of him. This is now turning into an absolute barn burner of a race. Everyone trying to hold their ground right now. Lots of traffic for Jason Bent, who absolutely has just marauded one up the inside of Brenton O'Brien. There's a spin in front of Jason Bent. Car's going to go around in the barriers on the left-hand side. It's Bruce Tanner.
Really tight part of the racetrack, as we said there, turns 2, 3, and 4. A little bit of contact creates a car park so easily. Greg Sharp manages to get through there without too many problems. Bruce Tanner is rolling again, and that group of drivers that got checked up and now going side by side down towards turn 8. It's McNamara, Latham, McLean, Jason Bent's all battling for positions. That's McNamara alongside Latham, who gets better traction. Slow lap down car again. Traffic is massive, and so's track position at Sandown.
Not just that, it's wet condition traffic, which makes it even worse to try and get through. Lonsdale is holding that 3rd place, but they're already 17 seconds off the race lead. Jason Bent right now 20 seconds off the back of Wayne Walker and Brian Borg, and they're turning around at this going, well, we'll have one CPS stop remaining, one compulsory pit stop left, and that I think is going to be the difference maker here. Bent's had to hold on, and so too did McNamara, because they've laid their bed with compulsory stops. Everyone else has had the luxury of going, well, wets might work, but Michael Taliancic, remember, was around Sean McNamara before the stop. He's still 25 seconds behind him right now.
So the rain intensity has been steady for this last 10 minutes at that 3%, 3 millimeters an hour type of rain, but there is perhaps clearer skies on the horizon. Or is it just the headlights coming on everyone's race cars?
Well, we're nearing 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's dark out there at the moment, so everyone's there. Kenneth Latter going through. Brian Borg has decided, I've had enough, I'm coming in. And if I was Brian Borg, I would do the absolute insane thing of getting a set of slicks.
Bent and McLean cut the final chicane on their slick tyres and picked up some slowdowns. So I think McLean will lose a spot to Latham down at turn 1. Borg's going to wet tyres.
That's a wrong move right now. The rain's going to stop in about 5 minutes, and you've held out for so long that Wayne Walker, it's a question of do you want to or do you not. Brian Borger's tapped out. He's basically said, I've had enough of this. I can't keep driving like it.
It might have been the right move 6 laps ago and then go back to slicks at the optimal time, but he's going for wets just as the rain is threatening to ease. This is that group right behind Sean McNamara. Includes, oh gosh, this is touch and go.
Oh, Benz on the outside is contact with McNamara. Benz goes sliding, saves it. What a save by Jason Benz.
Sideways, 200 kilometers an hour in the wet. Don't mind if I do.
Both
then,
deep.
yeah, the curbs are so wet. No traction on the curbs.
McLean in the background's gone around and he's got a black flag penalty to his name. So it's all gone wrong there for McLean. McNamara holds on to the place against Jason Benz. What amazing move that is. In comes Jason Benz.
The rain has just started
he's almost
easing.
lost in the pit. Benz has almost thrown it into the paddock at the back.
So what do you do now? The rain's just started easing, but the track is so wet. How does he... is it the paint across the track? Wow.
Look, he's going to try and get it slowed down for the speed limit, so watch the speed marker here. Down into first gear, really slows it down, and then as he puts the power down, he just lights the rears up.
Nearly went to his own ambulance there. Brian Borg's 4th on the wet tyres. Ken Ladd has been one of the quickest drivers on wet tyres of late.
Oh, cold wet tyres. Jason Benz sliding about, and he avoids everyone as he goes through. My, oh my, what a moment. McNamara still out there in second. John Latham still out on Drisington. Simon Haynes, we haven't talked a note of Simon Haynes. He's 5th.
He's one of those drivers that stayed out on the slick tyres, so same strategy as Wayne Walker, as Sean McNamara, and kept it enough on the road. Borg and some others have had to pit. In that other shot, you had Shane Randell on slicks being rounded up by Stone Street Point and Benz on the wet tyres. They were just driving around the outside of him.
Look at this. He is desperately trying to avoid the rubbered-in line here. He wants nothing of it. Now, normally, you see cars going to the inside to go and get some wet or some cold on their tyres. But Simon Haynes, I think he just does not want to be on the very slick rubbered-in surface.
Rain's easing, and I can see the end of it on the zoom.
Walker! He goes around 360 into the gravel, avoids anything else there, but that's a huge moment in this race. McNamara now is going to have his eyes bugging out wide.
Yeah, he's too far back to take the race lead, Sean McNamara at this point. But McNamara, we think's made 2 CPS. Wayne Walker still has one coming. If McNamara sees out this rain and he gets to the end, he could win this because he's within the pit delta of Wayne Walker now.
Walker stays out despite the spin. He knows he's got to weather the storm here. Sean McNamara, we said he might be best place of everyone. He has been putting this one absolutely incredibly at this stage. This has been an almighty moment here in this championship, and Sandown might be the breaking point in many different ways. Wayne Walker right now has 21 laps to hold this all together, knowing he's still got to stop once more, a lead of 11.7.
It's always darkest just before the dawn, and that's kind of the track state right now. It's the slipperiest it's ever been. But the rain is just about to ease up, and with the amount of wetness, the fact that it's only a 3-kilometer track with over 30 cars running, I think it could dry very quickly, even if it remains relatively cool and humid, just because we've got so many cars out there. Like, there's a dry line there now at turn 6.
It's staggering, isn't it? Just what everyone is able to do. They can only run one line at turn 6. It still remains somewhat there. That's a little slow then off at turn 1 over towards turn 2.
Again, where a dry line is forming from turn 1 through to turn 4 here. This track just evolves so quickly. Every lap is only a minute, and it's something brand new.
Well, it's going to be with you for a moment here, David. I've just lost all my feet. I'll be back in 5.
It's Brian Borg. trying to go around the outside, trying to get some positions back. It's a little bit of a squeeze. You don't want to end up on those curbs. So Latham finds out. And Cairns are going to lap down just behind them there. Down to turn number 1 here. My timing is also bugged out like Jake's has, but these pictures are accurate. The timing on screen is accurate. Wayne Walker with just 12 seconds ahead of McNamara. McNamara's made 2 stops. Walker's only made 1. Brian Borg has gone to those wet tyres. Might need to make a 3rd pit stop to get back off them at the end of this race. Latham in 4th, holding on to the slicks. Simon Haynes is down into 6th now. Taliancic has gotten around him. Haynes is hoping to get all the way to the end. You're now seeing Walker looking for similar lines and breaking offline into some of these corners like we saw Haynes doing. Rain intensity down to 1%. We're almost out of this. My goodness, does the track still look ridiculously tough to race on.
It's absolutely incredible here, the way this race has gone. So now you're starting to set up and say, what do you have left?
There it is. The rain is over at turn 9 and that final part of the lap. So it's still raining pretty heavily down to turns 2 and 3. Still water up against the curbs, but the line that all the drivers are taking is drying off pretty quickly. The moment circulating on track. There were 33 drivers. Our timers have been Bruce Tanek, Jeff Thomas, Jordan Ross critically, Travis Hunt and Sean Vandermeulen. So a few less drivers out there. Still a very busy racetrack. Clear this off. That's McLean on wet tyres, a lap down. How easily can he unlap himself first, Wayne Walker? And what's the pedal work? Well, I think that's half of the pressure on the brake pedal as we've seen from John Latham earlier. McLean's got to be so careful with that.
Yeah, he's going to have to be absolutely set up for what comes up next. Damien Cairns here with the black flag on the plate here, 21st position out here currently, and he is really trying to get this one to work. Look at how much he's having to really get this slowed down here at turn 1, works his way through the corner, now looks to try and gather everything he possibly can back out there, and he knows now that he's just got to find that line. Everyone very shallow now to try and take the chicane.
When you put your supercar into wet mode, it changes the throttle mapping to give you different size blips in the downshifts. I think Damien Cairns was going a lap down amongst these drivers, and he went off track kind of to let them through, and that was the final straw of the incident limit, I think, to give him a drive-through penalty. Probably won't be the last in conditions this treacherous, because it's a long 250-kilometre race. It's been elbows out and door-to-door, and then the rain has arrived. Always hard to remain in your rhythm and drive clean when the grit disappears halfway into a 250-kilometre race.
Yeah, you need that grit, you desperately need to find it, and this is something where you're just trying to give yourself every single bit of sinew and grit. Still an 11-second gap at the front, but now you're getting your real sense of, okay, got to drive it on all the way, got to start finding a way up the order. Brian Borg in third. Borg is only a couple seconds off the back of McNamara now. Yeah, that's right. Borg and Bence are lapping super quickly. Bence is the fastest driver on track last lap with the wet tyres on. Borg's gone to those wet tyres 7 laps ago. He's going to get at least a good 10 laps out of them, it would seem. Hall has spun around just up the road from here. He's on the outside of turn 3. There he is rejoining. No impedance to McNamara, perhaps a little to Borg. If you want an idea of how quickly is this track evolving, well, 2 laps ago, 3 minutes ago, Borg was taking time hand and fist out of Sean McNamara. Then the last lap, pretty even. You look another 2 or 3 laps into the future, I think those slicks are going to be the tyres to be on. Yeah, I think that's going to be something we very much keep a firm eye on, that there are going to be differences. There are going to be opportunities out there, and I think we are now starting to settle ourselves in with, okay, this is what comes up in the final stages. This is how amazing a race like this one has now been, and we're now keeping our eyes on here. Brian Borg, 3/10 in the first sector, 10th in the second. What does he gain on the final sector here, knowing that he is trying to run this down? And remember, with Brian Borg having already made his stop, he is in an advantage position right now if Wayne Walker tries to go in. As far as it stands right now, it's McNamara versus Borg for the race lead. Another 10th through. Alex Kiddes now hits the limit.
Yep, it's pretty rough in an 81 250 kilometer race to have an incident limit that is so low at 17x, but it's the same every week. It's meant to foster clean racing in V8 Vets, and it's why so many drivers come back week after week, season after season to this league. It's that other side of the coin in that case. Rain has just about stopped, still seeing more of a dry line forming in these places, particularly where it's one line. It's no longer raining in the pit lane, and the fastest driver on track last lap was Logan Barnett on a wet set of tyres though.
And with a wet set on, he's going to be turning at this going, right, I am giving absolutely everything I can. There will be now a crossover the other way, but they are now looking to try and ride this out. McNamara trying to weather the storm. Wayne Walker still needing one more stop to bring himself home and dry. Simon Haynes here in 7th now, starting to go the wrong way. Has seen the likes of Jason Bentz go through. Now he's seeing Mark Poynton on the wets, wants to make the pass. Troy Stonestreet wanting to try and get himself close in on the mix as well. Haynes taking his line without too much worry at the moment, but Mark Poynton is there, and there is a look at Simon Haynes and the work that he's having to do with his steering wheel right now. He knows how critical it is going to be that he just holds his ground in the WKMP Sim Sports 243. He is now giving everything he possibly can out there into turn 1, and he takes it with just enough confidence at 100 kilometers an hour that he's got a line that he's quite happy with. Oh my, he nearly got run over.
Super close difference in the level of confidence through turns 2 and 3, and he goes, I don't want to be driven into. Let's Mark Poynton go. Wayne Walker, a 114.8. Now the fastest drivers on track are on the slick tyres again.
So much traffic. Look at the traffic. The Wayne Walker's in as the car's gone off in front of him, and he's bunching up. He's turned. Wayne Walker's turned. It's an absolute parking lot down at turn number 3, and it all kicked off through Shane Randell. Ron Allen's caught up in it, and look, it's Sean McNamara directly on his rear.
Those tyres will be wet from being in the grass as well for Wayne Walker, so Sean McNamara's got a great opportunity to pounce here, and yeah, strategy also has him ahead. So what has happened amongst that traffic for Wayne Walker?
Wayne Walker, in the midst of an absolute hornet's nest, has been turned around, and Sean McNamara knows he only has to wait him out now for his pit stop to go and get this sorted. He'll be looking at the fuel numbers as well if they get quicker and quicker. Wrong place, wrong time. Wayne Walker, 6 straight, looks like it's dissipating along with the rains. In comes Wayne.
Just as I thought. Yeah, that's the correct thing to do. Reset your mind, reset your strategy. 12 laps to go. Make that compulsory pit stop. And the track's also drying out. He'll know that because he'll have seen that his lap times were coming down quite quickly now that the rain had cleared. So that was what he was waiting for, to make his second stop, to do the compulsory tyre change and be able to stay on slicks without it being fatal trying to warm them up.
McNamara's gone off now. Well, here's the replay. We'll get to McNamara in a moment. So there's the first go around, back across the circuit, and then they just don't check up behind Wayne. Shane Randell on the dries goes around, and then it's just the case that Ron Allen does not get that out of position. Look, he's already given a tap by Chad Lewis there as he works through. Oh,
It's double dominoes, such as the level of the checkup. So Ron Allen gets turns him into Wayne Walker as the two of them are off the road in front, and it's just a giant checkup.
Yeah, Latham loses it. Bang. 1, 2, 3. Look at that for Skittles as you work on through. Very tough there. John Latham there for Shadow Racing. Brad Doble was watching on as well. This is John Latham's view of things then. So this is going to be Brad Doble. Does Doble get into it? No, that's just John Latham.
There is no 10 laps in this race where you knew what was going to happen next. The race start, the safety car, the rain, the different strategies, Jordan Ross's slow-down penalty, Wayne Walker spinning and then being spun, the rain clearing up now with just 10 laps to go, and this for Sean McNamara that you caught.
Yeah, this would have been after the pit stop down at turn 3. Where McNamara found himself running off the road. So you can see there's the pit stop done by Wayne Walker in the background. McNamara drives himself to turn 3. And the key here is you have got to hold on around this place. You have got to give yourself every opportunity possible. And you can see he tries to find the natural line into turn 3, overcooks it in, back steps out, and he has to abandon ship.
And critically, that's going to be one incident point as well, leaving the track there, so he's just carried a bit too much speed, had maybe a front lock up and understeer at turn 2, driven straight across the mud pit at 3, and just one of those little errors that can stack up. 10 to go. It looks like everyone has made 2 compulsory pit stops in this race, including McNamara out front on slicks, Brian Borg second on wets, Taliancic third on wets, Wayne Walker fourth on slicks. Definitely could get Taliancic in this final run.
This is Randell making his stop, damage to the front, no shocks there, but Michael Taliancic up onto the podium, a decisive decision to go to the wet tyres, looking like it's paying off, but Wayne Walker on another set of dry tyres is trying to hunt him down for that podium and to take vital points away from Jordan Ross, who's not going to be scoring. Wayne Walker absolutely needs this.
Yeah, so just a narrow window at the end of the race here for the slick tyre drivers to try to claw some positions back. Walker's going to have so much more straight line speed.
He'll just go to the outside. There is a dry line forming up the hill. Michael Taliancic, I don't think is going to have anything for it except try and force Wayne Walker into the wet stuff then. They go into turn 6, tries to work around the outside, doesn't. Wayne Walker back to third.
As Brian Borg comes in from second, so this could get Walker back up into second place. Even a quick stop, it's within the delta.
Well, I think he wants a new set of dry tyres here. So he's going to be looking around at this going, I'm on the wrong tyre, I've got to go to a set of dries, so this will be now the way to get up to second place and try and sort things out as everyone now goes hurtling on by. Walker's easily going to get to second, Taliancic easily back to third, Justin McLean goes by, and it'll be a long wait then for the likes of Kenneth Latta, who's just jumped in to get off some wets. Jason Bentz now up into fifth.
Simon Haynes, who did the same thing as Wayne Walker, seeing out the rain shower on the slick tyres before then making his second CPS for slicks again in the dry weather. He's also cutting up through the fields. Has passed Ricky Hyde, who's on wets. He's going to be right with Ken Latta, who's coming out of the pit lane. Then you've still got Paul Young just up the road from him on wet tyres as well. So you're seeing this difference now. We're back to slick tyres being about 2 seconds a lap quicker, and nowhere near as sketchy as they were in the previous transition period.
Simon Haynes here in 11th spot, realises he now has a chance to go and get back here in this, but he's got to cover Ricky Hyde, who has made his way up into that 12th spot. Kenneth Latta, who's there in 10th. He's had a difficult day, and the Fishy Motorsports car has been drowned a little bit in just how difficult today has been. I don't think there is a single car, with the exception, well actually there is no exception right now. I don't think there's a single car in this race here, David, that is in exactly the same position they started in.
No, not even the safety car, because it came out and cut a lap, which put it ahead of race control. So, yeah, absolutely, in every single conceivable facet, we have shaken up the pieces. And Sean McNamara, what a strategy and he has been on. Borg with those new slicks is about to eat up Michael Taliancic as well.
Yeah, easy through turn 5 over Mile Creek. Gets the pass done, and that puts him with those wonderfully hot tyres that he's got, those dry tyres, up into position, covers the line, and now moves into turn 6, and he is on a tear, trying to get back now to Wayne Walker, who's in the middle of all that in front right now with McLean, Ullman, Allen, Smart. Walker's back in the Hornet's nest.
You got to flinch when you get to a moment like this. Christian Smart around the outside has to be very careful to stay on the road. Those curbs are still wet. Look out, Ron Allen.
Well, you have to call him Riverboat Ron at the moment, and they're going to go either side of him, 3 wide on the front stretch. There goes Justin McLean and Luke Ullman looking for clearance. Now it's going to be a battle on who's going to win this one under braking, and the answer to all of them is, well, welcome to the back, Brian Borg. He's going to get through all 4 of them at this moment, deal with the battle, and he lunges on in and clears one. Now he's going to get to the next one here of Luke Ullman, who moves out of the way and gets almost turned for his troubles then as he tries to get back up to speed. And next up now will be McLean and then Smart.
Christian Smart's made 2 stops in this race, and he's still on the wet tyres trying to get to the end. Justin McLean has been through the lane 5 times, but he's on those slick tyres right now, and he has been quick, really quick at times.
Oh, big hit, Matt Brunt. He's got the black and orange meatball flag. He's had a big old shunter out there somewhere, and I don't quite know where that is for him.
Technical issues for Matt Brunt in this case. So it's the
connection flag.
Yeah, connection meatball.
That will do him done then, and shame for his race that he's been trying to put together. A bit of side-by-side then, coming off of turn 1, over to 2 and to 3 here as they look to work forward. The outside line then being needed there, as this is Brett Horsell then just behind with Brad Doble, who will lose out that spot. That is for 15th spot. Latham up to 14th. Can you believe here at this moment, David? We've only got 11 cars currently on the lead lap.
Yeah, it's crazy. So much strategy variation. Even Ken Latta, who's on the lead lap, has been through pit lane 4 times in this race. Crazy. It's 2011 Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Jenson Button winning the race type of stuff. Yeah. You've just got to have survived the conditions, made good strategy calls, and Scott Mackay's made has put him on slicks in the last 6 laps. And he's just gone by Ricky Hyde on wets.
Absolutely wonderful work there. And again, that is a strategy call that has played out. Kenneth Latter and Paul Young, they're fighting 9th and 10th. Young on the wet tyres here, losing out. Kenneth Latter up the hill, gets the pass done, and that's another one who decides it's clearly the dry tyre that plays best. And oh no, Scott Mackay around at 5.
He's got an engine, but I think he's waiting for the right moment to spin around, but it's you can wait forever and the right moment doesn't come.
No.
So painful.
I think it's too late for a safety car. There has been one finish under safety car before. They might have to call it for Scott Mackay, and that would be a huge, huge hit for Sean McNamara. He does get himself around, and look at what he's got to limp back home.
Yeah, he's clearly been into the wall in that sector, and it's been so brutal all race long. Turns 2, 3, and into turn 4. The walls are so close, the curbs are so high. It's done. Bounces a bit of apex curb, but it's that wet exit curb that's done him in.
And a big old shunt into it as well for Scott Mackay has certainly done him no favours there, and all of that hard work and effort, it's gone out there at this point. Now you look behind then to some of the other drivers who are working through in this group right now. You've got Dean Flavell here, Brenton O'Brien, Damon Fisher. O'Brien has got himself a gap here. Fisher seeing what he's got for Stone Street, trying to put a lap down at this moment as they all look to try and go through. There's a lot of them out on the wet, so you're seeing this wet versus dry mantra going into play. And Fisher, well, decides in these wet conditions, I can reel one in another place.
And Ken Ladder's eating them up as well. He's just passed Phil Manuel and Troy Stone Street in 1 lap.
another one. Kenneth Latta is on an absolute rampage up
It's a lap car.
He's 7 seconds here, David, off of Poynton, and I think Poynton's not safe.
Yeah, so you've just got this very last final window of the race where the track is drying up and the slick tyres are so quick. So Ken Latter's charging up the order. Simon Haynes is going to charge up the order.
And they're all going to be staring at this going, oh, absolutely, yes, please, I'll have all of that and then some. Right now, they've got the injured Scott Mackay in front too. And look at that, that's 3 seconds a lap that they're chasing down. Poynton right now is in some rare air, but Latter's got a bit of traffic that he's got to get by first in order to try and get there, and McNamara's got a million miles off of the back of this as well, as he will sit with 3 laps to go when he crosses the line next. And there's one coming into the pits at the 11th hour. That is going to be Greg Sharp.
Hit it for new wets 5 laps ago. Wayne Walker went to new slicks 9 laps ago. Simon Haynes back into the top 10 with his 9-lap-old slicks versus Paul Young trying to get wets to the end. Too late to make the switch back now, so you've just got to hold on to that.
All this right now for Simon Haynes as he looks to dispatch of Paul Young and has done, and now sees a look over to the left-hand side of the Blackdown Dean Lavelle going through. He will know that Sean McNamara is the next car directly behind in that train. Stone Street and Manuel, though, half a second between them. A scrap for 8th and 9th place then. 2 drivers who started just outside the top, or just inside the top 10, fighting for 2 spots just inside the top 10.
And who's 3 seconds back, closing 3 seconds a lap?
Simon Haynes, and that's the key. Simon Haynes here is about to make bank late on. If he gets both of them, he is plus 20 and arguably M1 used car driver of the day.
Well, Ken Latter just made it look pretty easy, but the problem is that there's not going to be too many laps left. See, Justin McLean makes it look easy. You get to these really, really drying weather conditions as Ken Latter's looking to close in on Mark Poynton. And the biggest difference you notice between slicks and wets is the rolling resistance. You get more straight line speed with slicks, but when it's wet, you don't get as much traction out of the slow corners. Well, now we've got traction out of the slow corners. You get better traction from the slicks and then better straight line speed. And these wet tyre drivers are sitting duck in a straight line, as well as needing to be a little careful through the corners because their tyres are overheating.
McNamara with a lap and a half. Here's Kenneth Latter, though, to the outside. Poynton's going to have to try and fight this one, and there isn't anything left to give. Mate, there goes Kenneth Latter up into 6th place on the pass, and that's critical. Haynes then looks at Phil Manuel for position as he walks on through, looking for the drive off the exit of the final corner to say, I've got better traction, I've got the better tyre, I've got the way to run away. Barney waves the white flag here at Sandown for Sean McNamara, whose fuel tank will be hitting empty pretty soon. And through in front of him goes Simon Haynes. He gets the position sorted then and gets by Phil Manuel. Has he got enough time to hold the lap and have a go at Troy Stone Street in the final stages? 3 seconds for Brian Borg to the championship leader Wayne Walker there in 2nd place, and Wayne knows that this will be one of 2 drop rounds today for his main rival Jordan Ross, but he's still taking big points. Scott Mackay fights hard in 21st position out there and looks to try and hold down a measure of metric of what I can do against Ron Allen and Shane Randell, who's trying to come back and find a way, but deep goes Allen, and he's going to have to defend this one here. Randell will try and run around the outside. Already through turn 9 then is Sean McNamara, and everyone will turn around and say he's got it right, where everybody else has run into troubles and got it wrong. It's a bit of magic from McNamara. Sean McNamara wins a legendary race by chucking it in the wall. A big fist bump. Go on, get in there.
Well, you got to have 4x left in your incident bank to win like that, Sean McNamara. And what really set him up was pitting a little bit early before the initial fuel ran out. Then the safety car came. He could do the second CPS. from that point and survive the weather conditions, just like Wayne Walker did, but pitted too late to double stop under safety car.
Wayne Walker, though, knows that he doesn't win the battle today, but my goodness, does he win an almighty war against Jordan Ross. Brian Borg gets the podium here, and if it wasn't for his strategy on tyres, he'd get there and he'd get a 1-4 result. What a drive, though, here from Michael Taliancic. He's worth mention here for your M1 used car driver of the day, because he's there in 4th place and he mastered the strategy as well.
Yeah, he went to the wets early, made time up then, and then lost a little bit holding on to those wets later on, but still only made 2 stops. Ken Lattin, what a recovery drive from him, also making the right tyre switches at the right time. Mark Poynton in 7th, and Simon Haynes.
Stone Street's lost it on the last lap.
Yeah, it was down the back straight. Haynes just had way more straight line speed, so he's made 20 positions on the day there, and also survived the treacherous conditions on the slick tyres, just like McNamara and Walker did.
Can you believe it? Just 9 finishers on the lead lap here today. We'll run through results then in your SimRigs V8 Vets Season 28 run from Sandown, and this, the crazy race that may have just decided a championship at the home of horsepower. The rain came and it put everybody in nervous, but Sean McNamara was able to stand on song. He wins in a time of 1 hour, 40 minutes and 35 seconds and wins by 22 over Wayne Walker, whose streak of 5 straight victories gets snapped today. Brian Borg ends up in 3rd ahead of Michael Taliancic and Jason Bentz, with Kenneth Latta climbing back up to get to P6. It's then Mark Poynton 7th, and what a day for Simon Haynes. He jumps 20 places overall to get himself up to 8th, with Troy Stonestreet in 9th, and the first car 1 lap down, Phil Manuel in 10th.
Paul Young finishes in 11th spot, and then John Latham in 12th. Had to take a late drive-through penalty by the looks of things here, and then Dean Logsdale 13th, Ricky Hyde in 14th, Justin McLean there in 15th, Brad Doble 16th, Brett Horsell 19-ish positions gained to 17th. He started really deep in the field, has finished a respectable mid-pack. Logan Barnett in 18th position, Christian Smart 19th, and Luke Allman 20th spot.
Tough day at the office for many. Scott Mackay had that turnaround. He could have had himself a near top 10 finish. In the end, it's 21st. Shane Randell 22nd. Ron Allen was very busy in the middle of the race for M1 Racing. He's there in 23rd ahead of Damon Fisher, and Brenton O'Brien, the last of the cars, 1 lap down. Dean Favell at 2, as well as Chad Lewis. Dan Hall at 3 down. Greg Sharp at 5, and Matthew Stoyles getting the first safety car out of the day, down 6.
Getting towards retirement territory here, Matt Brunt got a meatball flag for his connection pretty late on in the race. Damien Cairns 12 laps down, 18 laps down for Alex Kiddis. Then Bruce Tannock, Jeff Thomas, and I guess the big story, Jordan Ross out of this race. Travis Hunt and Sean Vandermeulen likewise. For everyone who stayed on track, it was exciting, but for others it was incredibly bruising.
It absolutely was. We'll now take the time to talk with your race winner in the 951 machine, Sean McNamara. Sean, there's not really much words you can say after a day like today. It was an absolutely incredible run of racing up and down, but I think what happened for you, a safety car that came just at the right time.
Yeah, actually, it was. You can't strategize, I guess, for a safety car, but that was the plan. I thought if we just box a little bit early, if there's a safety car, that'll put us in a good spot. I didn't think it was going to rain overly hard, so I thought I could manage it, and yeah, thankfully did. Had pace in the dry as well, so I was happy with that. But for the first time, I think ever, strategy got me a race win.
And you have to take that with a smile. Your 2 compulsory pit stops done. Now, talk us about when the rain was coming down, because obviously it's still very, very slippery underfoot. You're still having to manage all of those conditions. And we saw the moment there for Wayne Walker. You then took the lead after he stopped, and then you had to have your own little trip over the road at turn 3. Just how tough was it out there to survive in the wet conditions on the dry tyre?
Yeah, it was bad. Good fun, but bad. And it was just a case, as I was saying to the boys then, finding the right spots in a couple of the tighter sections. In the quicker stuff, the car flowed pretty well, but in the slow corner stuff is where you risk turning. Just the talk of this thing. And as soon as it got onto the racing line, especially with all the rubber down, it was just like an ice skating rink. So there was a few spots like into turn 2, I was just hugging hard right against the yellow line, just chasing any grip you could offline. And sort of, I think I had two offs, but just focused on keeping the car straight. And I thought, I'm in it to the end. I'm not gonna try to go for wets here. I'll stay on dries and just keep the thing straight.
A lot of turbulence over the course of this V8 Vet season for you. Of course, the switch over to Synergy Sim Racing comes to mind as part of that. Just what does a win like this one today here in V8 Vets mean to you in the manner that you've been able to do it, and what that means for you, part of a new team, and looking to build on that form and stage hunt for the rest of the year?
Yeah, this is kind of what it was about. And the SSR guys have been absolutely amazing and brilliant to be a part of that crew, and they've taken the 9.5 guys in really, really well, and we've just absorbed into one. It's as if it was always been. But this is a special first win with SSR, first win with any other team but my own. So pretty chuffed with it. And really, this is what it was about. I'm not doing bulk laps. I'm not putting hours into practice. I'm just turning up, having some fun, and back to what it was when I first sort of started sim racing, and just jump in, have some fun, don't have to worry about all the team stuff, as much fun as that was. It's special. It's a shame for Jordan tonight that he had some dramas, but really excited for the future. It'll be just good fun, settle in and keep going with it, hopefully.
Well, there will be a big beaming smile on your face when we say you are race winner here at Sandown. Sean McNamara getting it done here today. Down in the paddock is David Haynes. He's caught up with your championship leader, Wayne Walker.
Well, how you going, guys?
Crazy weather, Wayne. Like right on that knife edge of the crossover point, and it just stayed there for a serious phase that challenged you.
Yeah, that was... I could see by the radar that it was only a thin band of rain, but it went on a bit longer than I thought. And just before it stopped, it was probably worthy of wets, but it was too late for me to come in, so I just had to sit it out and hope the rain would stop soon.
The strategy windows in V8 Vets with these two compulsory pit stop races are so massive. It decided the race winner at the opening round this season at Bathurst, and then here today, there's drivers that have just made their first pit stop when the safety car came out, and they get to take big advantage of it, and you're not in that situation. Yeah,
I saw McNamara pitted a couple of laps before the safety car, and when that come out, I said straight away to my teammate, I said, McNamara will win this race. And he went on to win it by, decent margin. So yeah, good strategy call from him. And, yeah, big congrats on the win as well.
So what are you going to take away from this race? We've seen just absolutely everything between traffic, weather, strategy, safety cars, lap down cars, wet curbs, gravel, everything.
Well, just, I don't know, there's, strategy call was, we got caught out, not pitting quite early enough. But other than that, to come home second, it's good for the championship. I'll still extend the lead, so it's good in that. And it's always hard in mixed conditions like this, because you've got cars that are on wets that are on a drying track, and yeah, it's just, you've got to be so careful around other cars, and even when you are careful, you can still get tangled up in it. So yeah, it's just survival.
Adelaide and Bathurst to come to complete the season. Get the feeling that absolutely anything could happen at those places as well.
Yeah, both tracks like Adelaide, anything can happen there. You make a small mistake and you're into the wall, and that. I've had reasonable finishes there, so should go okay there. And Bathurst is the same. It's across the top of the mountain, easy to make a mistake, and there as well, engine. It's easy to blow an engine. So I think that being the final round with no, not being able to drop it, I think it'll be just a matter of surviving and not blowing a motor.
Well, we'll see you there, Wayne. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And with that, we'll bring in Brian Borg, who finished off in 3rd position today. Started on the pole. Brian, first and foremost, great qualifying lap to give you exactly what you needed. And you were left in the early stages of the race having to focus with Jordan Ross directly in front of you. His slowdown penalty and subsequent drive-through, stop and hold that he had to take gave you the reins then to have the lead for the opening half of the event.
Yeah, it was definitely a good qualifying lap. I'm a little bit disappointed with the qualifying lap because the last numbers was 018. It should have been 017, but that's okay. I'll let it slide this time. But yeah, with the race start and everything, Jordan got a good start, and it was just tucking behind and put the pressure on. And then obviously Jordan, being a wise head, he knew what to do, but he got a slowdown, and I'm guessing he didn't clear it, and he got a penalty out of it.
And then the rain came down, and then everything seemed to be a free-for-all. Just how difficult were you finding it out there? There were a couple spins. You were yo-yoing between being 3 seconds back, 1 second back of Wayne Walker, and ultimately through the strategy decisions to come in, get on some wet tyres.
Yeah, obviously when that safety car came out, the first safety car, it really changed the way the race was going. Wayne and I were on the same strategy where I think Sean Bentz had a pit stop before the safety car, so they were able to do the second pit stop in the safety car. So I think Wayne and I knew that our strategy was a little bit out to the other guys, so we just had to focus on the restart and go from there. But yeah, like when the rain came down, it was just hold on to your lines and not try and outbrake yourself, man, because it was so easy to go off the track.
And so with a 3rd place here, you're able to get by Michael Taliancic in the late stages. What confidence do you take now heading to Adelaide next week?
I love Adelaide, so I've had some good battles, especially with Wayne in the past, so hopefully I'm up the front and we can put on a good show with the boys at Adelaide.
Well, an absolutely wonderful result here of 3rd place. Brian Borg there for the Mustang Mods 017, getting the job done and a podium finish then at the end of it. David, before we go, we have to try and work out who our M1 used car driver of the day is.
Do I have to recuse myself so I don't appear biased?
Why? Where's your bias landing?
Oh, with homophones.
Huh. I would probably be leaning either to Michael Taliancic or Simon Haynes. What do you think?
Still a 50-50.
I'm going to throw it to Dan Yeaman then,
yeah,
our producer.
Producer will break the tie.
We wait with bated breath. So we are getting word that it will be Simon Haynes that will end up then as your M1 quality used cars car of the day. 20 places is not easy to jump up, David, but the key there was he was one of those drivers who stayed out on the dry tyre in the wet conditions and then profited when the track dried at the end.
Yeah, faster drivers made the track look slipperier than he did, so stayed out, kept it clean, ran the same strategy as sort of first and second place, and then also made quite a few passes in that final, what was it, 13 laps on slick tyres when others were trying to nurse their wets to the end, and rocketed himself back inside of the top 10 all the way up to 8th place. So yeah, he's the M1 Used Cars driver of the day, and M1 Used Cars are a supporter of the Balin Stewart Foundation.
Absolutely. Hashtag bin the blade for Balin if you have not done so already. Now, as far as that goes, what a day we have had here, but we're going to get it all racked up again, because in 7 days' time, it is Adelaide Street Circuit then for round 9 of 10. And this promises to be, again, another hard-nosed, tough battling track that we're going to be seeing here, David.
Another circuit where the safety car chance is high, track position is king, and strategy could be a roll of the dice, and disaster is never too far away. But it's one of our favorite racing tracks. It's new, it's shiny, and yeah, looking forward to next week on the streets of Adelaide.
Yeah, and so that is going to be huge, and you can catch that with us here on SimSpeed TV for that at 8:30 p.m. AEST. What a moment we have seen here today in your SimRigs V8 Veteran Series here in Season 28, with the big help, of course, as well as SimRigs, the title sponsor of Logitech G, Nova SimSport, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Project Fade Streetwear, M1 Used Cars, and LGC Images. That was one I don't think anyone expected walking into tonight at Sandown. This could have gone any one of many ways. A streak that snaps for Wayne Walker with a couple spins he did not want a piece of anything for. Brian Borg, his strategy just taking him out of contention. Jordan Ross having the worst night that he has had in a very long time. But it is a critical first win with Synergy Sim Racing for Sean McNamara, mastering the strategy call, getting exactly what he needed here today, and he knew above anything else that was his race at Sandown, and he takes momentum over to Adelaide.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.